Hello guys, my name is Rasmus, I'm the main developer of Drone Wars, and today I will show you how you actually can host your own Drone Wars server. Now, as far as I know, there is no cloud game server platform that supports our game yet, so I guess you will have to do it on either a root server or just on your local machine. But I suggest that you use a secondary PC if you have one, because every time you shut the PC down the server is running on, the server will also be down. And also keep in mind that you might have a dynamic IP address. That means that the IP address changes sometimes, and then you will have to port forward the server again. I'm also going to be showing you a little bit about port forwarding, but it could be a good idea to set your IP address to static. I'm not going to be covering that in this video, but as far as I know, there are tutorials out there that shows you how to make your IP address static, so that shouldn't be that much of a problem. Also keep in mind that this is still the first public version of Drone Wars, so a lot is going to change in the future and also be fixed, because there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work how it's supposed to be yet. So just keep that in mind, but I guess if too much will change, I guess I will have to make a new tutorial, so don't worry about it. Or just feel free to ask me if there's something that doesn't work for you. But with that being said, let's start with a tutorial. So you can start with finding Drone Wars in your Steam library. Then you can go to, sorry, this is in German, but in English it should be Properties, Local Files, Browse Local Files. Then you'll see something like this. Now this is the main Drone Wars application. And now if you want to host a server, you will have to run this application with the command line arguments minus batch mode minus no graphics. So what you can do is right click, create shortcut, I think it should be in English. And now you right click on the shortcut, and now you hit properties, and now you see something like this here. And now you will just go to the end of this line, space, minus batch mode, minus no graphics. Then you submit that. Now you can rename it to Drone Wars server if you want, but that doesn't matter. Now you can start this application. Now if you get this error, you spelled something wrong. I guess I just did that right now. Let's have to fix that. And I missed a C there. Yeah, that should be okay. Yeah, this is typical that this happens in a tutorial, because that has never happened before actually. Even though I often make grammatical errors or spelling errors, but never in this case here. And there we go. Now it's telling something about fail to load config files. So now we can just write create config. And now it has created config files. Now you can hit shut down. Or write shut down in there and it will shut down. Now if there is a new folder in here that says server configs, go ahead and delete it and do this again. Launch the thing again and write create configs again. But if not, everything is okay, and you can go into Drone Wars data, and now you should have this folder server configs in here. And again, if it's not in here, go back and see if it's in here, delete it from here and do this part again. So now we can go into server configs. Now we have a few config files here, all of them are in JSON format. If you want to edit them, it could be a good idea to use Notepad++. That's a really good editor for that. It should be free to download, but also the standard Windows Node editor should work for this. So if you have problems with editing this, you can just go to Node editor here and drag the file in here and you can work with it. But I'm going to be using Notepad++ for this, just because it's a little bit better for this. So now if you want your server to be on the public server list in game, you will have to change server is public to true. And here you can set your server name. We're just going to be calling it Drone Wars Test Server. And make sure that you only change things there you are supposed to change things, because otherwise the whole thing won't work anymore, or the game will be unable to load the config files, and well, that sucks. Just in case you have done something wrong in here and you don't know what it is, you can try to delete all the files and start the shortcut again and type create configs again, and then do it from the beginning. Here we can set max players. Game mode, we can put this to auto, and it will automatically change after each round. Or you can set it to team deathmatch, arena, or just deathmatch. Now here you can change your server port, but at the moment, if you want your server to occur on the in-game server browser, or it will also occur if you change the port, but the players won't be able to join from the public server browser if you change this port. I will hopefully fix that in the future. But for now you should just leave that as it is. Unless you're going to create a private server that doesn't occur on the public server browser, then it doesn't matter. You can also use a game server token, but then you will have to set this to true. And if you're using a token, you will put the token in here, but we are not going to be using a token in this tutorial. Just keep this as false. And if you want your server to be secure, it means that cheaters will be kicked, or players with a game ban will be kicked automatically. Leave this as true. Also, if you set your server to public and it appears on the public server browser, it will automatically be secure. If it's not, it won't appear on the server list. Server info, you can set that, but it won't occur, also you won't be able to see that anywhere in game, so you don't have to set that yet. Server owner Steam ID, you can set your Steam ID here. Now to find out your Steam ID, you can search for Steam ID IO or something like that, and yeah, this website works good for that. And you can go to your Steam profile and you can copy this link here. Oops. Paste it in here, look up, and here you will have your Steam 64 ID. Sometimes also this Steam 64 ID is inside of this link, but if not, just copy paste this link in here and look it up, and you will always have to use the Steam ID 64. Now you can put server owner Steam ID in here. Hide owners, you can just leave that as is, but it doesn't matter if you change that, because plan to add a feature that you can see if someone is admin on the player list. And now we also have a server gameplay config file in here. You can just leave it as it is, because the server will load the file, but it won't apply it to the match settings, not yet at least. That's also something we are going to be looking into soon, that the server owners can set their own gameplay config settings. And we also have this admins config file. And here you can just put in Steam IDs of people that you want to have admin rights on your server. You can put in here as many Steam IDs as you want. Just put this, I don't remember what they're called in English. Then you will put the Steam ID in here. And now if you want to put another Steam ID in there, just put a comma here. Next Steam ID. I know that's not what a Steam ID look like, but it doesn't matter right now. Then another another Steam ID here. Yeah, it will look something like this. But every Steam ID you put in here will automatically get admin rights on your server. Now we also have a blacklist config file. And now if you permanently ban someone from a server, the Steam ID will be put in here automatically by the game. Or if you know some players that you don't even want on your server, you can also just put their Steam IDs in here manually, and they will be kicked instantly if they join the server. Now the suspensions file is for temporary bans from the server, and the game will automatically put a player's Steam ID in here. Then it will put a semicolon behind the Steam ID, and here it will put an unbanned date, and behind that it will put a reason for the ban that the player will see. Now this can actually also be the case in the blacklist file, that if you add a ban reason to a permanent game ban, there is a semicolon behind the Steam ID and then a ban reason, but that will be put there by the game automatically. But actually also here we had some problems. Not all of this banning, local banning stuff works at the moment. I mean, I figured out this with temporary banning, that theoretically that should work, but there's something with the banning system at the moment that doesn't work how it's supposed to work, but hopefully I'll be able to fix that soon as well. Now if you happen to meet a cheater in game that you want to ban, please don't ban him from your server. Just you can press P in game and you will and it will open a list of all players, press a number, and that number is the Steam ID 64, and just copy paste that and report the player for cheating on our Discord server in the report cheating channel. And in that case, you're welcome to ping us as well and tell us the server name so we can join and eventually ban the player from the game. So that was everything with the server config files. Now we will have to open the ports on your firewall. So just type search for firewall here. Yeah, this should be looking something like this. Yeah, this is German now. I think this one should be something like incoming rules or something. Go on that. Add new rule. Set this to port. Continue. Now all ports that has to do with our game are currently UDP ports, so UDP should be enough. And you will have to put the game port here, 5577. Continue. Now it's important that you hit this allow connection and not block connection or something, because then it will obviously not work. Continue. Now you can give that rule a name, maybe add a description if you want, and hit finish. I've already done that, so I won't do it again. Now we can hit add new rule again, set to port again, UDP, and now we will put the Steam master server port in here, which is 27015. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Continue, allow connection, continue, give it a name, finish. I'm not going to do that now, because I've already done that. And now we will go to the thing under here. It should be called something like outgoing rules or something, I don't know. Add new rule, and you will do exactly the same thing again. Port, UDP port, first 5577, continue, allow connection, that's important. Give it a name, description, finish. Then the same thing again with the Steam master server port, UDP 27015. Continue, allow connection, give it a description and hit finish. I'm going to cancel it because I've already done it. And that's everything you will have to do in your firewall. Now you will also have to port forward the ports on your router. Now for going into your router, hit type cmd in here, and it will open a console like this. Type ipconfig in here, and you will have to look for the standard gateway. Copy that, go into your browser, put this standard gateway in here. Now the password usually is something like admin. If it's not admin, go to your router and it should be under your router. Now if that's not the case, ask your parents or whoever is living with you. Hit log on. Now this is going to be different depending on what router you have. What you always can look for is something like NAT configurations. Remember NAT configurations, look for that. Or just port forwarding. Yeah, here we have it. Port forwarding. Just go through the different options and you will find port forwarding somewhere, I guess. You can try to Google port forwarding for your specific router. Also, I think that shouldn't be that much of a problem. Now if you're in the port forwarding tab, it should be something like add new IPv4 rule. Now if you have an IPv6 address, I actually don't know if that works with our game. I haven't had the possibility to test that. Now in the local IP field, again go to this console here and look for the IPv4 address. In this case my router has already the first numbers here, so just have to add the last number here, which is 2 in my case. If that's not the case with your router, just copy paste the whole thing and put it in there. And here comes the annoying part with dynamic IP addresses, that this IPv4 address will often change, and if the wrong number is here, port forwarded ports won't be applied for that machine. So that's why you should change your IP address to static if you want to keep doing this. Now 5577 for a local start port, 5578 for a local end port, 5577 for a local for extern start port, 5578 for extern end port, UDP or both, doesn't matter, but don't TCP, just UDP or both. Enable, and I've already done that for my second machine, so I'm going to cancel that and Same thing again for the Steam Master Server port, which is 27015. I can just copy paste it on any of these, and the end ports will always have one number increased. So this should be looking something like this. So remember UDP, enable and apply or submit or whatever. I will cancel it because I've already done it. Yeah, so now you should be good to go to actually launch the server. If the game is not already running, you can just do that by pressing play and then select dedicated server, and it will launch the game with the command line arguments -batch mode, -no graphics. Yeah, sometimes it happens that it fails to load the config files the first time, sometimes even the second time, but as long as this line is here, config file successfully loaded, everything should be okay. And yeah, if you see something like this, this means your server has successfully connected to Steam. Now you may notice you can't actually run the game anymore because Steam says that it is running. So just right click, properties, log files, browse local files. And you can start the game from here by just pressing the Drone Horse application, not the shortcut but the Drone Horse application, and it will start the game as well. Yeah, this is actually something that's quite annoying, that it is starting the game in windowed mode after you start a server. You can just fix that in the, or just make it full screen mode again in the video settings menu. Now you can press play, servers. Now this here is our official server, because if you remember, I didn't really port forward the Steam Master Server ports for the IP address of this machine, but for my other computer. But if you press on the LAN tab, here you should see it. This here is exactly this server here. And if you do everything correctly with the port forwarding on your computer and your router, your server should also appear on the internet server list. Now, if you have a server in your local LAN network, it's really important that you don't join via the internet server browser, because if you do that, I can show you what happens then. Well, actually now nothing is happening because no one else is on the server. But as soon as someone else gets on the server, the ping will go far above 1000, and in the best case, your client will just get a timeout error and disconnect. In worst case, actually your internet might crash, or actually that shouldn't happen anymore, I think I fixed that. But as long as the server is in your local LAN network, always join via LAN. Now let's actually join our server. And there you see, auth session accepted from Steam ID, and then this is my Steam ID. Yeah, this just means that my Steam account is verified and allowed to play. Has no game bans or anything like that. And if I leave, you will also see that on the server. And here you can see this is actually a bug that we are currently working on, that either this authentication stuff does not work, or here it says 0 players always. In the LAN tab it will always show the correct number, but not in the internet tab, which kinda sucks. So that's what we are trying to fix right now. Okay, let's show you guys some console commands. You can type players, and it will show you how many players there are online, and their Steam name and Steam ID. Actually, you can also type help to view all available commands. Now, some of these commands does actually not work in here yet. I think the ban and kick command doesn't work, but one thing you can, for example, do is say and then type something in here, and it will come in the server chat. Or actually, you can also put a warning in here. Just type warn and then a message, and you will see server warning and then the message in the server chat. Another thing you can do is FC and then an argument, for example round restart, RR, and it will restart the round. S is force the round to start, so it will start at the get ready timer. And actually, if you have the game mode set to auto, it will, if you do FCRR, it will switch to the next map. So that's a way to switch to the next map fast. But if you just have one, if you for example have deathmatch as the only map, it will just restart the round. Now you have actually more options if you are in game and your Steam ID is saved to the admin save file, or as the owner ID you can press H and you will get this admin panel. Now I know it looks kinda bad and it will also get improved in the future. This was more like a prototype. Now here you have a list of players. Actually you can see the icon is the wrong way. Yeah, but you can select a player and never do something with the server right away, because for example if you kick the server everyone will get disconnected and yeah, well, that sucks. So you can select a player, for example go to the kick tab, enter a reason for kick and then kick the player, confirm that, and the player will get kicked. You can ban the player, enter a reason for the ban. Here you can set the duration of the ban, or just set it to permanent. Yeah, but as I said, there are some bugs with this at the moment, and that will be the next thing on our roadmap to fix, I think. Then admin tools, there's nothing here yet. Maybe something for tournament modes or something. Then this here is for team deathmatch. You can select a player and force it to another team, to team A or team B. You can actually also remove the team from the player, and the player will have no team anymore, so player alone versus everyone, and you can force team reassignments, which will just force the server to rebalance the teams. Then we have server configs. Here you can reload the save files. You can enter a Steam ID here, hit give admin rights, and the Steam ID will get saved to the admin file. You can unadmin a player, enter the Steam ID here, and the Steam ID will be removed from the admin file. You can also unban a Steam ID here, enter the Steam ID, hit unban Steam ID, and the Steam ID will be removed from the blacklist file if the Steam ID is in the blacklist file. And then we have server events. You can select a player. You can, for example, hit permakill player, and you will see I will get terminated. Then it says permakill because the player you kill with that won't respawn until the round restarts. But you can also spawn the player again with spawn player. Yeah, let's see if this fast train event works. No, this train is currently running, so then it won't work. You can do force round restart. Why doesn't that work now? Oh, come on. Well, another thing I have to fix. Yeah, but at least you can do this on the console FC as in the round restart. Now you might wonder how I get into this free view mode, or camera view mode, or whatever you want to call it. Now you can only do this as a developer or if you have admin rights in the server. So how you can do this is you have to open the admin menu one time, just that the server verifies that you are an admin, kind of, and then you can press, I think the default key is the slash on the numpad, so you can hit that and you can move around with WASD, go faster with shift. Then if you hold right click you can also kind of move with your mouse. And yeah, one other thing is if you press P you will get a, or that's actually also something you can do as an admin. If you select a player and you spy, I forgot that one, you hit spy, you can actually see the player's camera, where the player is on the map. You can hit open profile and it will open the, well, this only works if you have Steam overlay enabled, and it will open the Steam profile of the users, and you can also copy the Steam ID here. But if you are not an admin, you can press P and you will have a list of all players on the server, and you can copy paste the Steam ID or open the profile here. If you, for example, think someone is cheating and you want to report the person to us, you can open the Steam profile and report him for cheating on Steam, or just copy paste the Steam ID and tell us about it in our Discord. So we have actually a channel for that, report player cheating. Yeah, but we haven't actually had problems with cheating yet. Yeah, but I think this is pretty much it for this video. Let me just kick myself here once. Oh shit, yeah, well, it sucks to be a developer. Can't even kick yourself, okay. Never mind. Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you have any questions or problems, let me know. Maybe I can help you. Feel free to join our Discord. Yeah, thanks for playing our game. See you next time.